So as you know, I've been covering the soft white underbelly channel from pretty early on, and as time has gone on, I've become more and more critical of soft white underbelly. And now, recently, there's been a pretty crazy development. And shout out to one of my listeners, Alexis, for bringing this to my attention because I never would have heard about this. And this is just absolutely mind blowing. Just absolutely mind blowing. You have to watch this video by that Surprise Witness TV about Amanda, her autopsy report. For those that don't remember, I did a video about Amanda, and it was called Amanda Has Passed and Now We Have to Find Someone Else to Exploit. As you can see, it got 24 upvotes and 11 down, which is actually pretty good because if you look at my other video, it's got more down than up, talking about Mark Leyda and his prostitute agenda. So, anyways, I've already talked about the Amanda situation, and I also talked about in this video how some of these details of her story were creepy, and that Lima was this seemingly questionable character, and the way that she died and all this, it was just odd. Well, that was just me speculating and me saying that's creepy. This person, that Surprise Witness TV, they took it to a whole nother level. She did all this research, digging up Amanda's autopsy report here. She did more than that, and she researched these other group of people. She researched Amanda's father. These people, this weird stuff that she discovered, these creepos that are associated with Lima's mind control helmet selling organization. So she really did some research into things that I personally would not do research into. And it's interesting when I look at this person. I, I don't think that she's a conspiracy theorist. I think that she said herself that she sort of originally started out as like this Britney Spears activist, and once again with the Britney Spears thing, she went over above and beyond with her research and really tried to help Britney. She's a lawyer, by the way, that Surprise Witness. So she's actually doing legal stuff, trying to help these people, and she she basically she basically caught Britney Spears' manager stealing like $90 million, something crazy, something insane. Again, another insane thing that she dug up. So this leads me a little bit to wonder about this person, Surprise Witness TV, because as I said before, she doesn't come off as a conspiracy theorist, and yet she's digging into all these things that are very much in the conspiracy theory territory. I mean, when you talk about pop stars, mind control, handlers, money laundering for crime organizations, like you're into very, very deep waters there. But anyways, this manager who she basically inferred stole all this money went after her and tried to get her fired from her lawyer job, and in fact did succeed in doing so. So she's already in this. She's already neck deep in this thing, and she knows that it's not without consequences when you go after these people. So again, kudos to her for doing this research on the Amanda situation and digging up this autopsy report, exposing Lima's false statements, exposing Mark's knowledge of the whole situation, and exposing this weirdo mind control group that seems to be running Lima. So it's just she's gone way down the rabbit hole. In other words, okay. So let's get into this Amanda insanity that the Surprise Witness has
to a lady
dug up.
named Lima Yevremovich. Now, Lima is introduced to us as the CEO of a company called Aura, which uses virtual reality technology in order to help treat people struggling with addiction and other types of mental health disorders, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Lima, she has a
Pure
long
evil.
business history. She's been involved in other types of startup looking type of situations where, for example, it looked like they were going to try and do the same type of experiments instead of on homeless people, on prisoners. So it seems like the government was like, you can't actually test on prisoners. So it looks like what happened is Lima pivoted from prisoners or people who were being incarcerated and held against their will in that way to people being held against their will in conservatorships. That I've been referring to this type of incarceration as psychiatric incarceration because that is what it is. You're not allowed to leave. But the problem is they can take your rights away, but you don't have access to a lawyer. You don't have access to due process, a trial by jury, nothing like that. Okay. So we first met Amanda in Los Angeles. She was living on Skid Row. After Lima came in and took over Amanda's life through court ordered treatment, she shortly thereafter transferred Amanda to Las Vegas.
So for those that don't know, Lima, who Mark brought in, and we'll get into where Mark found her later, actually wasn't just helping Amanda, wasn't just doing whatever for Amanda. They actually legally took over control of her life.
Now, me and the investigation team have been able to ascertain that the place where Amanda was living in psychiatric incarceration was at a facility called Desert Hope Treatment Center. Okay, so that is where Amanda ultimately lost her life.
These centers are all scams. I mean, they're I've already spoken about that.
We're going to watch
in
a
the
couple
Amanda
clips
video.
of a couple videos of what Lima and her business partner, Albert Monero Jr., had to say about how Amanda died. And then, as you know, myself and the investigation team have requested Amanda's autopsy report. So basically, we're just going to run a fact check in real time, okay?
Once again, I mean, props to her for doing this. I mean,
what's going
she
on
uncovered some real shit
with what they said.
Lima's obviously
what...
just a front for this business.
Oh, okay, no problem, Muppet Slayer Mel.
She's not some
so
kind
what
of
they
business
said
mind or investor.
Was a little bit different than what the autopsy report said. And so I don't want to sit here and go, well, Lima said this and Albert said that. No, I'm going to just show y'all in their own words what they said. Now, one more thing before we get into it that I want to point out. So there was a person named Albert Monero Jr. On Instagram, he goes by Alberto Monero Jr. I don't know if his name is Albert or Alberto, but it's not going to come as a surprise to you to know that people are still using pseudonyms in this case, or stage names, or aliases, or whatever. I mean, Lima, Takora, Tagali, Takali, Takwali, Tagali, Yevremovic,
Those are all the different,
all these different names that she has.
All the different, yeah.
Okay,
Lima's names, her aliases.
Albert got a lot of names, I guess 2 names.
Only a criminal has that many aliases.
He's the one who helped. So Amanda died, basically, in the treatment center in Desert Hope. Now, according to Lima and Alberto, they had her body cremated, and then they dumped her ashes in broad daylight, against the law, right? They didn't follow the code that you're not supposed to just...
I mean, I'm not exactly sure where she says it, because this is an hour and 24. I'm obviously not going to do the whole thing, but they were using those mind control helmets on Amanda. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know that they legally took control of her life and basically made her father the recipient, that creepy-ass father of hers, made him the recipient of her government benefits. And yeah, but they actually were using those mind control helmets on her. Wow. I mean, it's absolutely it's crazy. It's a crazy story. And it just only gets crazier.
Dump human remains on the beach, but they did. And so one of the people that helped to dump the human remains on the beach, aka dispose of the evidence, is if there was some type of criminal activity, the person who helped Amanda's dad to dump Amanda's ashes, his name was Albert Monero Jr. He was listed as a program director at Aura or something like that. Okay. So this guy also went on ahead and did some podcast appearances as well after Amanda passed away. And we're going to hear from him too. Now, I've linked that podcast below. And what you're going to notice is I started asking questions about what was really going on in that podcast, like in the comments section. And now that video has been completely edited. Okay. But I have the video in its full entirety from before it was edited.
So basically, this podcast she's talking about, they're exploiting Amanda's death. And she went in the comment section of the video and started talking about them. They went back, re-edited the video to make it look different, and her comments were probably either removed or now the comments look crazy because they're referencing something that's no longer in the video.
You will not be able to see the clips that I'm going to show you in this video today because they have been deleted. And so I'm going to renew my question that I've been asking since I started on this series and on this playlist of Bam Margera and Lima, is if y'all didn't do anything wrong, why are you...
Another red flag. The same person, Lima, is now involved with this Bam Margera person who is a TV star from Jackass, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't watch Jackass, but yeah, so she's doing these celebrity causes. How? Like, where did Mark find Lima?
You editing
Who is Lima?
podcasts wherein you talk about Amanda. That's my question, okay? I know a lot of y'all follow Soft White Underbelly, and a lot of y'all were even like Lima stans at the beginning of this. But
They
I'm going to
sure
ask
were.
and renew my question, even if you are. If Lima and Alberto/Albert didn't do anything wrong, why are they editing and deleting podcast clips from channels that they're not even a part of? That is the question that I'm asking y'all to consider. Okay.
Does this woman really strike you as like a technologist or I don't know, man.
All she had in her system was Tylenol.
She's lying
All
through
she
her
had in her
teeth.
system was Tylenol. All she had in her system was Tylenol.
So they took control of this woman's life, and now they're lying about her death. And look at the father sitting there looking creepy. For those who don't know, I'm going to rehash this real quick. Amanda made a lot of accusations about her father, saying that he molested her, raped her. She also made allegations about Lima. She didn't call her Lima, though. She referred to her as Kardashian or something like that. But it was clearly who she was talking about. Amanda also said that she was being mind controlled. Amanda also said she was being mind controlled, and she made all these classic crazy schizo statements about being mind controlled. Here's a schizophrenic person making statements about being mind controlled. Nothing to see here. Except that same person ends up in a fucking mind control helmet.
All she had in her system was Tylenol.
All she had
And then she ends up dead.
in her system was Tylenol. I made it repeat 5 times. That was my edit. I know that they did a toxicology report, and all she had in her system was Tylenol. Let me bring up this
Straight
the
up lie.
actual toxicology report, okay, so that y'all can see what was actually in her system. But turns out this is a lie, all right? But again,
It is a lie, and long story short, she had a ton of freaking drugs in her system. Of course she'd had a ton of drugs in her system. This woman must have been insane to say she only had Tylenol. I mean, did she think no one was going to see through that? She's in one of these treatment facilities. That's all they do is give these people drugs. And of course, if you look at the history of MK Ultra, which, correct me if I'm wrong, included like these kind of helmets from the very early stages. It also included drug treatment, okay? You're using drugs to put people into suggestible states. So, yeah, of course she was on drugs because A, she's in a treatment facility where they always pump people full of drugs, and B, you're doing mind control helmets on her, so you're going to want her suggestible, okay? Here's part with the autopsy. Again, I'm trying to summarize this. Lima and Amanda's father tried to basically spin Amanda's death as being a result of her time on the street, right? Like, in other words, She had so much trauma from the street, she just couldn't make it, y'all. Like trying to absolve herself, basically. In other words, Amanda was on crack and she was a prostitute and she was beaten and raped and she had schizophrenia and she survived all that on the streets. But a month after being in this treatment facility, she's gone. And now they're lying about her death, saying that she wasn't on drugs. They're doing creepy experiments on her. It's all bad, man. And I'm not even going into all the details of it.
She'd had so many physical issues prior that,
She had so many physical issues prior. She had so many physical issues prior that they didn't even notice it on the toxicology or the autopsy report. That's how.
So that's why she highlighted no traumatic injury. They're trying to imply that she was beaten up on the streets and that's why she died months later in the hospital. I mean, right? And again, these people are absolute creepos. This guy is some Hollywood actor, and this guy's standing in a dojo, and they're selling fucking mind control helmets.
How many issues prior she had that they didn't even mark one of them on the toxicology
you really
or
need
the
to ask,
autopsy
where did
report.
Mark
That's
find
how many
these
issues
people?
prior she had. Again, we haven't gotten to the cause of death. We're going to pull it up on the autopsy report. Let's just see this tail they're weaving, the tail they're spinning.
So let's talk about Mark's part in all this. I mean, as you can see, he's promoting Laura. He's promoting Lima. He's not just, bringing her on. He's promoting her and her scholarship and her organization, all this stuff, okay? So that's, if you're counting, that's two creepos that he's promoting. Sharp the pimp and Lima, the criminal with 20 different last names who works with strange organizations. Yeah. So where does Mark find these people? My first instinct was, okay, this is not what a person who is out there in the streets working with homeless people looks like. This is not someone who's dedicated their life to helping the less fortunate. You can just look at Lima and see that's not who she is. And come to find out, all this weird stuff about her. Where did you find her, Mark? Where did you find Lima? Surprise witness, again, she contacted Mark in good faith. So, I'll try to find that part later. So as I'll show you later on in the video, the surprise witness did try to contact Mark, and you can guess how that went, but we'll look at that part. But let's rewind to look at my history with this channel. Okay, the first video I did, I tried to be very fair to Mark. I said, I like your channel. I think it has some value. Some of the things seem exploitative, and Mark himself seems a little bit off, but I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. That sums up my first video. But as time went on, I started seeing that he had this prostitute agenda and that he was promoting a political agenda. He wasn't just being a cameraman. And so that's when my criticism started. Mild criticism. In response to that mild criticism, his fans came into my comment section and started telling me things that I did not know about him. Apparently other interviews that he's done, and the things that they were telling me that they thought they were saying to defend Mark actually made him look more and more suspicious to me. And in other words, things like Mark was a multimillionaire. He got 8 figures to do a photo shoot and all this stuff, and I'm like, 8 figures to do a photo shoot? And it turns out, this is true. I don't know about the 8-figure photo shoot, but that he's getting paid big bucks as a photographer. And listen, you don't just get paid big bucks to snap a shutter if you're nobody. That's just a fact, especially not for the corporations that he's working for. And, like I said, when you go turning over rocks, the average person will scoff. They'll call you a conspiracy nut, but it's just a fact. When you look at the fashion industry, you start turning over rocks with the models and all, there's human trafficking, there's drug trafficking, and worse, spy shit. It's not pretty. Yeah, not to get too off topic, but I had a friend and he was dating someone and her son was a model. And he was like, yeah, this guy's a gay model and he just goes around the world and goes to parties and it just sounds like the life. And I'm like, dude, that's not the life. What do you think he's really doing? What do you think, they're just paying him to be beautiful? Like, some people are so naive about how the world really works, man. If you're a photographer getting paid 8 figures to push a shutter button, you're providing more than just photographs. I'm going to just throw that out there, okay? So anyways, but I didn't say that. This is the first time saying it on the video. Okay, I've talked about this a little bit in the comment section before, but this is my first time saying it on video. Yeah, that's suspicious to me. You know, these people think that they're defending Mark Leyda by saying he's a multimillionaire and he doesn't need the money. He's not doing it for the money. You're just making him look more suspicious. And nothing was more suspicious to me than the whole Lima thing. And come to find out, this is some really sinister shit. And the surprise witness has just dug up some madness.
I don't really need any more legal professionals. I kind of like, you know, just reaching out to
she's
y'all
so
myself.
funny. Like,
but
she's just
if
like,
y'all have
dives head first into this stuff.
Let me know. Okay. But what I think happened was they were trying to finagle and maneuver a certain cause of death. And the reason I think that is going to maybe become obvious to y'all in the next clip.
We have the autopsy results for Amanda.
Again, you have to watch this whole video.
Just came a couple days ago.
Because the surprise witness, she breaks it down.
So
she breaks down their little nuances of their lies. She breaks it down, the nuances of their manipulations. She's really good at this shit.
Again, the dog whistle. The homelessness is the problem. The drugs is the problem. The sex work is the problem. The living on the streets is the problem. And it's not.
I know she's over dramatic and stuff, but she's just seeing their whole playbook.
Maybe the two times the therapeutic dose of trying to tell us what they use as a seizure disorder.
Cause of death was marked as a seizure disorder.
Okay.
I mean, how are you going to lie about the cause of death? They lied saying that she didn't have drugs in her system. She lied about the cause of death. Who would even have who would even have the motive to lie about a homeless person's cause of death? Who would do that? Not to mention that this same person who's lying about their cause of death is the same person that became their legal guardian, basically.
Quick. Again, we're going to go over the whole thing. But just real quick. Before I pull it up.
I mean, not for nothing, but I'm feeling vindicated.
Can y'all read what this says? Cause of death.
You should see.
25-year-old black female Amanda Rapp died of cardiac arrhythmia. Hypertension, obesity, and schizophrenia were contributing factors. Does it say brain injury from the street is a contributing factor? Does it say, like Albert Monero Jr. said, that it's living on the street was the contributing factor, getting beat, getting R.A.P, any of that? Does it say that to y'all? No.
Right.
Hypertension, obesity, she wasn't obese until she was in Lima's care.
Because of all the drugs they had her on.
Okay. And schizophrenia were contributing factors to her death. But the cause of death was a cardiac arrhythmia. Do y'all see seizures anywhere here? Do y'all see that she had a seizure? No. But we're going to go through the whole thing together, and y'all can tell me if you see that. Now, I do want to say also, I know some of y'all are Mark fans here. I have emailed Mark twice.
Here it is.
Twice I have emailed Mark. I've gotten no responses. And I have emailed him even in good faith saying, oh my God, this lady lied to you.
Right.
Here's the information. Here's the thing. If you want the autopsy report, call me. Give me a call. Give me an email. No, nothing.
How do you even find someone like Lima?
So if Mark Leyda didn't know about this
Let me find a homeless advocate who sells mind control helmets. Where do you even find this person?
If Mark Leyda did know about this stuff, I think that is a huge problem because he allowed a lady to come and lie to his subscribers. Not only his subscribers, but people who donated to the tune of tens, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars.
There's no telling how much was donated.
It's misleading to allow this woman to lie on his channel and then ignore that it was a lie. And I'm not talking about a little white lie. This is the cause of death and the drugs in the woman's system.
Amanda.
She died of heart arrhythmia, heart attack, and she was on a shitload of drugs, okay? and they're lying about the drugs that she was on. Now, I'm not going to say that Amanda was murdered, but can we even rule it out at this point?
Never had seizures prior to being homeless, and death was marked as a seizure disorder.
This is not going to be
9 months or something?
April.
Tell me,
The type of people that she's fronting for, I mean, they'll kill you if you try to expose their shit. Maybe Amanda wasn't going along with the program. We
Because
can't not,
Amanda
at
was
this point,
homeless.
assume that
And so-
Amanda
Sorry,
just
I messed
died
up where I was. Hold
for
on.
whatever reason.
And then Larry and I also sent in your videos to kind of show her condition from the drug use and the
But it's
the
crazy that
beatings
you can
that she
smoke
took.
all that crack
we
and
also
that don't
had
give you a
some-
heart
some
attack.
Photographs.
But the
And so
psychiatric
I'm just going to
drugs
read it word
that
for
they
word
give you
of
in the
what we
hospital
got.
give
The
you a heart
cause of
attack.
death was marked as a seizure
Not to mention
disorder. The
obesity.
cause of death was marked as a seizure disorder. The cause of death was marked as a seizure disorder. The cause of death was marked as a seizure.
So yeah, again, she's getting over dramatic with it, but maybe I should just end it there. I don't want to go through her whole video. You should watch the whole thing. I mean, she goes into vast detail into the manipulations that Lima was doing here. I don't know what to say. I'm blown away by this. I thought there was something creepy with soft white underbelly. And this is, I never came out and said it before because I wanted to give people the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, this is what happened. Amanda was on the street. Soft white underbelly swooped down. Yeah, Mark swooped in. It was one of the most exploitative videos on his channel because she obviously didn't want to be there, and she was obviously in no mental state to be giving interviews. But he kept bringing her back in increasingly degraded condition, and then they made a charity case out of her, and he wanted to bring Lima in and make her a celebrity, right? And they took control of her life. They could do anything they want to her. Put her in rehab forever. And as long as the money's flowing, it's all good. But it only lasted a few months because they were doing mind control helmets on her and they were shooting her up full of drugs, and she got obese and her heart gave out, allegedly. So they didn't save Amanda. This is what I said in my previous video about Amanda. Amanda was not saved. They were trying to spin it like she was saved at the time. I remember that. Lima saying, just basically, she was so happy. She was all, we fixed her. This is tragic, but she just didn't recover. Same thing that Surprise Witness is talking about, trying to spin it. Just the fact that this person died under our care a couple months into this supposedly safe health facility. But the fact that they went and covered, this stuff about them covering up her ashes and disposing of her, hiding the evidence and lying about her cause of death and lying about her being on drugs and being connected to creepy ass organizations with Hollywood scumbags and mind control helmets, and Mark is in all the middle of this shit, and he's on No Jumper promoting pimps. So you should really, once again, take a closer look at who's entertaining you, and always question the story and question the official story. She went and got the autopsy. She proved Lima was a liar. She exposed these creepos with this weirdo organization. I mean, she just did a fantastic job. So my hat's off to Surprise Witness. I'm really impressed. I hope she got, people around her keeping her safe, a good support system, and keep doing what you do. It's hilarious to me that she came in as a Britney Spears activist, and now she's like knee deep in all this conspiracy shit. I don't, who knows? Who the hell knows? But yeah, this is the world we live in, and as you can see from that other video, it's just like I said in my previous video, that they were trying to exploit Amanda even after her death. Amanda, rest in peace.